All right, welcome to the horse racing happy hour is what we're called. That was a nice thud. Nice thud.
Old thud of lud. How about that?
Did you roll out the barrels for that beer? You got like a, what is that? Is that a 40?
This is a solid 30-ounce beer. Big beer for a big guest. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah, how about that? Here you go.
So, Louie, you're drinking non-alcoholic beer. Like, does everybody know that?
Thanks for telling everybody.
Oh,
appreciate you ruining the show.
Is that not
right away as soon as you
ruining the show?
Yeah.
You're drinking.
That was in my notes to tell you not to mention that. How about that?
It was?
Yeah. I didn't. It's in my personal notes that I don't share with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
should probably share all notes, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tonight. No, and going the NA route tonight. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Back in the old academic team season, your boys got to be up early tomorrow.
Got to be sharp.
Got to be sharp with a bunch of fifth graders yelling.
I'm not drinking right now either.
There you go.
I got my 48
little agua.
Water. Yeah.
No, it's nice to take a break once in a while, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
clean it up a little bit, clean it out. Yeah. There you go.
So I'm doing the
life lessons from the happy hour. How about that?
I'm doing a pre-week to next week starting the hard 75 hard. Do you know what that is?
I have no idea.
Zach, do you know what 75 hard is?
I mean, that was his porno name in college, but other than that, I don't really know. Anyways, I think but I do think horse racing is built around these big event weekends, and so I do like to give my body a little break before things like Breeders' Cup.
Oh, you want to make sure you're your bathing suit ready?
Yeah, right. No, of course. Yeah.
I understand.
There's palm trees.
Well, and honestly, you wouldn't be ready for next week.
Sorry, my internet was glitching. It's the mental toughness program, right, or something like that.
You do the hard. You're supposed to take a progress pick every day.
Oh.
You're supposed to drink a gallon of water. So I'm trying to get used to drinking a gallon of water.
It's a lot of water.
It is a lot of water.
It's a lot of water. You feel better when you do it.
You got to do it systematically. You're supposed to do 2 45-minute workout sessions a day, and one of them has to be outside.
Oh, okay.
And then
that's a lot of working out.
You have to read 10 minutes a day.
Can you walk for 45 minutes?
Yeah.
Is that counts, that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay.
So I'm getting up early in the morning again, which is always good for me, doing my walk.
Yeah.
And I had a little mishap though Monday. So
just shit yourself or what?
No. So
were you looking at the PPs in your email again?
I was not looking at PPs.
Oh man.
My dog, I took my dog, I took McKinley for a walk.
Oh, the man.
And then my wife walks with Jolene, who's a friend that both Louie and I know.
A neighbor of yours?
Yep. And so she took Rose, who's our big Great Dane.
Oh, yeah.
And when
a monster, by the way.
We ended up crossing each other, and Rose got excited.
Mammalian monster.
And I'm holding the leash, and she got McKinley all excited, and they wrapped her on me, and I fell, and I don't know, I messed up my hand pretty good.
And you're an old man, so it's taking longer than usual for that.
Yeah, we were talking about being old men before we got on the show. It takes a little bit.
Real life.
Yeah. So, but I'm tough, no x-rays for this guy. I'm good. I'm ready to go. I got almost full range of motion back.
14 races at Parx on Saturday. Yeah. How many do you think are non-stakes?
9.
4.
Wow.
10 stakes.
Has there been...
Now they do a full state bred card alongside the Pennsylvania Derby card. So there's all their the alphabet soup and the there's some other races I'm forgetting the names of right now, but so earlier in the card, especially there's a state bred, but there is a state bred in race 9 later in the card. And then I wanted to get this out there because I was looking it up. Parx has some bad takeout rates in certain areas, but the pick 5 on Saturday is a mandatory payout. It's usually a jackpot pick 5, which hurts my soul to even say those words out loud. So it's actually paying out on Saturday. So if you want to play, I think it's called the Philly Big 5, something like that.
Philly Big 5.
And so you can actually play that starts in race 10. Gunnites in that race.
Well,
in the old the Penn Mile.
I don't know how I feel about it being called the Philly Big 5.
Because of the basketball.
The basketball thing, man. At the Palestra.
100%. That's the play on it.
Yeah. All right. I mean, if they're playing,
have you been to the Palestra?
If they're playing, yeah, I have. Actually.
I have not. I'm jealous.
Actually,
is it awesome?
I went there to see Penn practice too, so I went there for a practice.
I like that.
A buddy of mine was an assistant coach there. He coached Emil Jefferson, who played at Duke in high school, and Emil Jefferson played in the Derby Classic. And
Philly's long been a great high school basketball recruit, fertile ground, right?
Especially across the river in New Jersey.
Kobe Bryant's from there, right? From Philly.
Yep. Yeah. Well, he was born in Italy, but yeah.
Right. But basketball grew up in Philly, right?
Yeah. Kind of thing. Yes. Yeah. But has there been a track or a race day, let's say, that's benefited more from, number one, the timing of where they are on the calendar, but then casino gambling than this race day in Parx?
Parx, yeah, it's up there. It's way up there.
I mean,
what they can pay out in purses is incredible.
And so
they got $300,000 listed stakes. It looks like Churchill Downs.
Yeah,
it really does. You're right.
the relevancy
point
of
by
the
you.
Pennsylvania Derby
Yeah.
has the last 4 or 5 years.
To have both of your races, the Derby and the Oaks, the Cotillon in this case, to be grade ones is unheard of, frankly.
Yeah.
No one gets to do that. Yeah,
Right.
you're totally right about that.
So, it's going to be an awesome day out there at Parx. I'd like to go to Parx one day.
Yeah, a weekend in Philly would be very fun. We got to know Jessica a little bit
Would
last
you run
year.
the stairs with me?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Yeah.
Yeah, Zach,
Yeah.
would you run the
I
stairs?
actually interviewed at Penn for grad school, believe it or not.
So have you run the stairs before?
I have not done that.
Okay, I've done it several times.
Got
but,
I have a sense Zach would do that for sure. Yeah.
Dude, yeah. Mike, are you sure you want to run with
Okay.
me?
I mean, I don't have to
By
beat
then,
it.
you might be a year
I
from
don't
now.
have to
Huh?
beat. Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
play.
it might be good. So,
So, by the way, setting up the show, we're going to do some replays from last week. We had our first Derby prep,
yep,
first Oaks prep.
yep.
I got the rolled up sleeves and the tie on. Our buddy Steve, new to the show, new
My
friend of
good
the show.
who I've never
But our fellow classmate for the National Turf Riders got in the same class as us, Steve Kornacki from NBC, joining us here in about 10 minutes. So that'll be exciting. There you go.
he's on the same level playing field as Danny Brewer.
No question.
Yeah.
When I think NTWAB, I think Danny Brewer first, and I think Steve Kornacki second. Mike Gandolfo third, Louie both fourth.
There we
That's how
go.
it goes, yeah.
The horse racing
That class,
It's
what a
gonna be a
class.
Hall of Fame
Talk
Talk
class.
about Hall of Fame
That
classes.
is an insult to the turf riders when you've got Dan Sherva. Okay, Dan Sherva is all I ever think about.
John
for the
Sherva.
next-
John Sherva.
John's definitely
No,
gonna be
Dan
listening. Yeah,
Sherva.
it is John Sherva.
Dan Sherva.
Oh, Dan.
He's John's twin brother. He's from Mexico.
I think John actually sponsored you, wrote a letter for you,
Yes.
and he wrote a letter for Steve in the same class. How about that?
Oh, how about that?
How about that?
Yeah.
You have John Sherva in common. We can talk about John Sherva with Steve
I
Kornacki.
don't
How about
really
that?
want to talk about John. Sherva.
I don't
No.
want to either. It's all right.
I don't want to talk about
I did appreciate a couple weeks ago you accidentally group texted me and Sherva, and it was great because John's response was near perfect.
Yeah.
frankly. Yeah, no,
yeah,
just
and I
ball
just
it
played
out
it
of
off
control.
like I meant to.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Just ball it out
it
of
was
control.
fantastic.
Yeah, I love John. Yeah, it's
You
good
know,
stuff.
I don't ever. I'll never foresee me ever ordering Grubhub, let alone Grubhub for my dog.
for your dog. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
he lives better than we do. Let's put it that way,
There's something about our generation though that has like trouble ordering Grubhub, right?
dude. Our producer on the radio show spends like $25 to get 2 drinks delivered to our studio if she doesn't have the right coffee.
And
she makes whatever hourly wage thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
she's always talking
unbelievable.
about her money troubles.
Right. Yeah, stop ordering
Wow.
Starbucks delivered. Yeah. All right, let's watch some replays here. Zach, what do you have up, man? You got Iroquois up? Because I can see your face.
Yeah,
You
we
can just
can't
nod
really-
if
we
you have
can't
the
see this
Iroquois. No.
Pocahontas?
You got Pocahontas ready?
Yeah. All right, we're gonna go to the Pocahontas.
Awesome. This was the best race of the weekend.
Yep.
Was VV's dream.
By the way, were you out there? Did you go?
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Because I wanted to be there before we do the replay. Was there for Bango. Tied the record at Churchill Downs for most wins all
How
time.
sweet can- I mean, that's so.
And
freaking
you know what's
sweet.
awesome is I appreciated the moment because people around me that I could tell were casual horse racing fans, which is totally fine on a Saturday at Churchill Downs. That's who should be there.
Yep.
Knew this was going on and they were rooting for him. They were saying his name, not hey, number 4, go. Right? They're saying go, Bango, go, which is a big difference. But this was VV's dream, easily the performance of the weekend at Churchill Downs.
Cruising along, tracking them third, starting to rev up now. Coming on 3 wide, Corb's now 4th. Farther back, it's Ripperton and Regal Rumor. They're at the quarter pole. Hot Beach off the turn. You almost had me. VV's dream is cut loose, and here she comes. And there she goes, right on by to the front. VV's dream, just like that. 5-length lead furlong to go. Hot Beach gives way with You Almost Had Me. Farther back, it's Corb. They're coming down to the finish, and from off the pace, VV's dream does it easily.
VV's dream looking
Sailing home
very
to win.
impressive right there. Trained by Kenny McPeak and ridden by Brian Hernandez Jr.
Yep.
And of course, especially with it being a McPeak, that will officially be the buzz horse for the Oaks.
Well, very rarely, do we get an Iroquois horse that shows up in the Derby. Pocahontas, a better predictor of potential 3-year-old success. VV's dream looks like one of those horses.
yeah, I mean, she definitely looked really strong right there. Put the field away.
Yep.
I mean, again, we don't know field strength just quite yet, so
No,
we'll
sure.
see what happens if she's going to go the juvenile. I'm
But I
assuming
think the
the juvenile
2-year-old
filly,
I think the 2-year-old filly class stronger than the 2-year-old colt class right now.
Okay.
I just do. So at this point to win the Pocahontas like that, to me, more impressive than anything else that happened on the
like
weekend.
gotta let the cake bake.
Oh, for 2-year-olds for sure.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is, look, we're going to be in LA in a week, 6 weeks or whatever. We're going to see her there. I mean, no question.
Is there going to be a red carpet for me? Because I demand a red carpet.
I think yours is pink.
Okay. All right.
As long as you're okay with it, yeah. All right, but let's watch that Iroquois. I have a great story about this as soon as the race is over. Go
All
ahead.
right, let's see the Iroquois.
Yeah, this was West Saratoga. Larry Demerett.
Into second now. West Saratoga within 6 lengths of the lead. Sees the Gray starting to muster up a rally. Liberal Arts is down inside now, coming off the rail. 5 lengths behind there. And Edified comes alive with a wide sweep. They're off the turn. Patriot Spirit still in front somehow. It's a 2-length lead. Here comes West Saratoga. Risk It is there. Sees the Gray. Edified. 1 furlong to go. West Saratoga comes away with the lead. Kicks away by 2. Sees the Grays wandering about. Risk It down inside to the wire. West Saratoga wins it by 2.
All right, so I go to Churchill with my 13-year-old and my 6-year-old.
Okay.
And my 6-year-old daughter has been to a few dozen races, right? Something like that in her
She
life.
goes quite a bit.
She's been there enough. They're coming down the stretch and she turns around and I feel a tug on my shirt. And it's Mary. And she looks at me and she goes, "Hey, Daddy, I thought they were supposed to go fast."
Oh,
She's 6. She knew that was slow.
oh my gosh.
Vivi's dream would have buried that field.
Are you like really disappointed in Risk It in this race? I mean, because
I just
there's
think
no
the 2-year-old
reason,
class, I think the 2-year-old class just isn't what it usually is. And so I think we're at a point where we're discovering
it's
that.
kind of like we're talking
And
about
by the
college
way-
basketball recruiting now.
No, for sure. I want to be really clear. Rafa, perfect ride. Rafa Bejarano, of course. And Larry Demerett, by the way, I think he's had like 70 starters the whole year.
Yeah.
Trainer from the Caribbean, like is making it in the US. Kudos to him. Go win the races. Good for you, for sure. Sell that horse right now.
Absolutely.
Get out. This is the time. Get out if you can. But this, it was just so slow. His running style cannot win the Derby, except the last couple of times. And so maybe we're seeing a sea change here. I'm not sure. But in this case, just a really slow race. Was it 138 and change? I can't remember top of my head now.
It was 137.28.
Okay, not as bad as I thought, but literally my 6-year-old's pulling on my shirt saying, "I thought they were supposed to go fast."
But seriously,
It was one of the horse racing highlights of my life.
Tyler Gaffalione on Risk It didn't look like there was any reason
There
for
was
that
nothing
horse
to go.
not to do it, and
Right.
it just didn't fire. Of course, you're going to see that kind of immaturity out of horses
Yeah.
at that age.
Jesus Castanon too was on was that Patriot Spirit? Yeah, Patriot
Yeah.
Spirit. They came in from Colonial. Horse just went. Jesus had no control of that horse. Probably should have won the race, frankly. Probably had the best horse that day. Just ran out of gas after 6 furlongs.
So is that a horse that we start seeing point towards like 1-turn races in the future?
There was a 1-turn race. Remember, they
Oh,
moved
yeah.
back to 1 mile. And so I think it's more, again, look, these
You're not gonna see
2-year-olds,
that horse
right?
Stretch out though, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
They're 2, and it's September. Again, it's really difficult to kind of predict those things. What did we determine? 2001, since the last winner of the Iroquois even made the Derby field?
It was something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a minute, right? And
Harlan's
so
holidays.
that sounds very
Yeah.
right, actually. And so, look, not a great predictor of future success, but hell, I mean, that's not the job. The job is to win the race. So there you go.
All right. We got one more race. We saw a great field of older fillies here with Search Results winning the Locust Grove.
A reminder, even grade 3s, the purses matter more than the grading. of the
Absolutely,
races. And this is
especially
a
with these races.
$400,000 race here. This is what you see with this field.
Pressure. Misty Vales revving up with a 3-wide bid. Pauline Pearl under pressure. Then it's a Morier who comes off the rail as they come for the top of the stretch. Hidden Connection and Search Results. 1-2 off the turn. Search Results cut the corner and reclaims the lead and kicks away by 2. Search Results with 1 furlong to go. Hidden Connection fully extended back in second. Misty Vale third. Pauline's Pearl fourth. First is Search Results with 100 yards to go, and she returns to winning ways to score by 3 lengths in the end. Hidden Connection was second.
Hidden Connection with a really nice run here.
Yep.
She was totally all out, but a very nice run there. Mile and a 16th is perfect for Search Results. I don't know that she can. I don't know what kind of. Oh boy, they should run her in the distaff. I don't know if she's going to be a factor in the distaff.
Just because of this.
I think just even the half a furlong. It's so interesting to
Yeah.
say, but yeah, I think that 9 furlongs. It's not disqualifying, but boy, it's a little difficult.
Yeah. Chad Brown, the trainer there.
Yep.
And Tyler gets the greatest stakes win.
He's
in
on
that race.
unbelievable fire right now at Churchill Downs.
Oh yeah.
Bet
he's
against him
killing
at your own risk. That's right. Yeah.
And he, looking at some of those older fillies and mares in this race, a Moray seemed to have a
Yeah.
rough trip.
Yep. Late Avita didn't have her best.
Yep.
Yeah, she had
Pauline's
won.
Pearl.
She had won the up at Thistledown, Lady Jacqueline, and so yeah, no, it's it was a really good field, but frankly, the best there was Search Results, and it was nice to see the best.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to go on to our second segment here with our our horse racing 101 is usually what we do here, and we're
Yeah.
going to have a guy that I think that people are going to enjoy this. They're going to like it. We're going to brief Steve Kornacki to the studio. Steve, you're in your car. It's not the best lighting.
Oh, he said, I want to do the podcast. I'm going to be in my car. Is that okay? And I said, I'll take Steve Kornacki in a car. Let's go. Yeah, right. Capping in cars with Kornacki. Is that what this is?
And khakis.
And khakis. Yeah, capping and khakis and cars. Is that what this is, Steve?
This has got to be the most dimly lit guest appearance you've ever had. In fact, these overhead lights literally went off as you put me on.
Oh,
I just realized because I had the engine off, so I just had to turn the engine on. But we're good. We're good. I'm off I-84 in Connecticut, and if you can hear me and see me, let's go.
Hearing you is way more important. Right?
Yeah, right.
Even though you are, you were a former sexiest man alive.
Yeah, I mean, we get the notice every year that we're up for it. We never get it. What is that like, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah, I told everybody that was the real voter fraud in 2020. I don't know how that one came about. Don't recount those ballots.
I have my rolled up sleeves and my my striped tie on tonight, sir. So there you go. How about that?
I appreciate that.
There you go. Did you ever think that would become a signature thing, man?
No, never thought it. Never, never tried to make it a thing. And honestly, it was the pandemic. There was not a lot of adult supervision in the building. And so it's just what I happened to be wearing that day. And nobody was there to tell me to put on a suit and tie or anything. So that was that.
All right, Steve, tell the listeners about your path to horse racing.
I became a degenerate at a very young age. My uncle is the one to blame. There's always a family member, it seems. I was 6 years old, the summer between first and second grade. He took me to Scarborough Downs in Maine, which unfortunately is one of the many closed tracks, but it was a harness track. This is, in the era before simulcasting and all of that. So all we had were, the 8 or 9 trotter races that night. And he gives me the program. And before every race, I'm circling a name and telling him who I liked. And he's just ignoring me. And each horse I'm picking is winning. And then he starts getting angry at me and he's not betting any of them. And I haven't had a night that good in 35 years since then. And I cashed it for $0.
Right.
Yeah, right. That sounds
right. Yeah, your kids kill it at the track.
Oh, they're amazing. Yeah, right. Yeah. I let my kids bet though, because my degeneracy, I'm trying to be his uncle, right?
Okay, yeah.
But with less anger.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. No, a little anger, not too much though.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Degeneracy comes with anger, I think. No?
It can.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, it can.
Well, good enough. Well, I appreciate you pulling off the side of the road in Connecticut to do the happy hour. Is there a must attend race for you? I know you're a New York City guy now. You grew up in Massachusetts. Do you try to hit the Belmont every year? Do you get up to Saratoga? What are you doing these days for your horse racing?
Yeah, the Belmont's it's fun to go there. It's a nightmare, to get out of there. And so I actually didn't even go this year. I just thought get a few friends together, watch it, at a bar. Okay. My big must every year, honestly, is get up to Saratoga. Do it as much as I can. And even if it's on a weekend, even if it's not one of the big stakes days, even if you're just there on a Thursday or something. Oh, yeah. Just the experience. Obviously, this summer ended up being probably their worst summer ever, but that's my must. I've got a few tracks kind of on my list. I'm checking off as I did Keeneland a couple years ago. That was definitely on the list, and got to do Del Mar for the Breeders' Cup in 21 with NBC. That's been on my list. We're doing Santa Anita in a few weeks, so. The big one left for me is Oaklawn. I want to get down there one of these years.
I have not been to Oaklawn yet.
I was going to say there's a trio of us that haven't gotten to get to Oaklawn. There you go. Yeah.
Is this your first time to Santa Anita?
Yeah, and actually, I've never done it before. So it just looks gorgeous on TV. So I can't wait to be there.
Yeah, we're excited. We'll be out there as well. And so hopefully, maybe we'll come snag you, Steve. You can do some early morning sports talk radio and ruin your reputation that way. All right. So I was telling Mike before the show, I'm actually excited because you sent me an email like, oh man, I'm checking the weather and I'm checking these past, I'm watching these replays. I'm like, Steve's in. Like Steve's like, I'm doing the happy hour. I'm gonna watch some replays. I'm gonna do the damn thing. So, I mean, what stood out to you in this Cotillon field, for example? I was saying to Mike was actually making a point at the beginning of the show. One of the more remarkable things about what they've accomplished at Parx is their Oaks race and their Derby race, the Cotillon and the Derby, are grade ones, man. And they fall in this perfect spot in the calendar where it's after the Alabama, it's after the Traverse, the Haskell's long gone. And they seem to have found a really good niche. within the 3-year-old ranks. Anybody stand out here? Even, I mean, you were talking about it, especially with the weather.
Yeah, well, so, and the weather complicates it for me because when the entries first came out, I thought, I had the winner in the Cotillon, and it was Ceiling Crusher.
Okay.
And I'm very interested in Ceiling Crusher, but there's some wild cards, and I think the weather is one of them. I think bringing in a horse from the West Coast who's done nothing but run on fast tracks out there, now throw that horse on a muddy track against a higher level of competition than she's ever faced before, potentially more pace pressure, almost definitely more pace pressure than she's faced before, just present huge question marks. So I'm curious also, kind of picking up on she may be a bit of a trendy pick too. So I'm curious what the odds look like. But at this 5 days ago, if you'd been talking to me, I would have been all gung ho on Ceiling Crusher. Not as confident in that now just because of the weather. But this is a spot where I want to try to beat Pretty Mischievous.
Okay. All right. So Mike and I last fall, we got to watch Hoosier Philly romp home in the slop at Churchill Downs. She did it recently at Ellis Park. Is that the kind of horse you think could beat Pretty Mischievous this weekend?
She's done it several times.
Right.
Yeah, I hear you on the weather, but Hoosier Philly still hasn't run more than an 85 buyer. And, I think you're talking about the time last year when she was about 10-1 in the Derby futures pool. We've come a long way since then. To me, she's part of there's that outside horse, the local horse, there's Hoosier Philly, and there's Ceiling Crusher, and there's the potential there for, I just think a combination of the three of them creating so much pace that, obviously that could naturally favor Pretty Mischievous, or it could favor, one of the other horses potentially coming from behind. I'm interested more in a Colt, the Chad Brown horse here, or Just Catherine, who I think could sit, just off of that at a price. And maybe there's a bit of a, maybe there's a bit of a pace meltdown almost. So I'm a little interested either in Ceiling Crusher, the weather not being a factor, and gets away, like Society did last year.
Right.
Or potentially, all right, there is much more pace pressure and somebody comes from off it, and that could definitely be Pretty Mischievous. I just, at the price she's going to be, I'm not that interested. So I take one of those other two, I think.
How much does price factor into your personal handicapping and what you end up playing?
A fair amount, especially, we could talk about it later in the Pennsylvania Derby.
Okay,
I think there's a big example of it there, but when I think they're getting too low, and especially when we're playing a pick 4, pick 5 or something, right. I don't like singling those. They say take the free square, but I'm like, everybody's going to take it. Yep. It's going to be dirt cheap. And then you just take them and they lose,
Okay. Yeah. Where they spread, you single, and where you single, they spread, right? That's the idea, at least. All right. So if you had to land on, go ahead. If you had to land on one horse, give us your pick for the Cotillon. If you think, if the price included, is it Just Catherine? Is it a Colt? Who do you think?
It's if I had to land on one, I'll take the chance that it's Ceiling Crusher.
Okay, I like that. Right. Yeah, you never know, right?
I just have doubt right now that I was really confident in that one a couple of days ago and thought I'd kind of keyed in on something. The weather is giving me pause, but if you put a gun to my head, I'll give you Ceiling Crusher.
Yeah, she made me look really smart when we did the show on Thursday, and then of course she went off at like 2-1 by the time they got to the gate in the Torrey Pines out there at Del Mar. Let's move on though. $1 Million Pennsylvania Derby, obviously for 3-year-olds here. I think an interesting race, especially for the better here, Steve. We see some returning horses that haven't made that step up into a Grade 1 win. Maybe Saudi Crown. A horse like Scotland, who's kind of a late bloomer, maybe Magic Tap. I think a lot of people are wondering, is Reincarnate even going to run, depending on how the course looks like? We've seen Bob Baffert scratch for a lot less than just it's wet out. He also happens to have drawn the outside post, so who knows? If you had to,
perfect scenario for him.
Is this the price example that you were talking about? Because they're flying Juan Hernandez in for this one.
Yeah, well, this is where I think if Reincarnate runs, this is where I look at the morning line in front of me and I say I don't think it's going to look anything like this on the board. I can't see how Saudi Crown is not the favorite and is not, a formidable fit. So I see 7-2 in the program, and I say, boy, if I were at the track, or if I'm just sitting in front of my phone,
Run to the window.
and they're 2 minutes to post, and it's 7-2 on Saudi Crown, I think that's a win bet. But in my mind, I'm already mentally prepared for 9-5.
Okay.
And I'm a lot less interested in Saudi Crown at a price like that. I think there's too many question marks. And I just think those two buyer speed figures, that sort of inside position, just the near miss, against Forte. It's just, I think that's going to attract a ton of money.
Any concern with him? And we talk about this a lot on the show, Steve. Horses are pack animals. They actually don't want to be out front. You have to train them. You have to encourage them to go out front. Any concern that a horse like Saudi Crown actually might be a pack horse, given his last 3 races have all been within a length and a half, like the 3/4, and 2 of them, frankly, were where he ran second.
Yeah, exactly. Small fields, as well. I mean, the one thing I think that you could say positively is, you look back at that Jim Dandy, the track condition was similar, I think, to what we're going to get on Saturday. But yeah, I think this is just a totally different setup, than he's faced in his previous races, especially if Reincarnate is running, because you just know the Baffert style, especially coming from the outside, will be to hustle him up, probably to try to go for the lead. There's a couple others in here, the Asmussen horse Magic Tap, who I think could be, vying for the lead too. I've been really interested to see the comments this week from Bill Mott, with Scotland, who has won on the lead, but who is stressing that the horse doesn't need to be on the lead and has won from coming off of it. So I think he's kind of telling you how he sees this potentially setting up. But this is one of those races, where I get the case for Saudi Crown, and I'd be interested in it at 7-2. But I'm going to be a lot more skeptical at 2-1 or less.
Is there a horse with longer odds that you like here?
Yeah, I think Magic Tap and Scotland are the two that interest me the most, and then the wild card that I just don't know what to make of, and it would help if we had a jockey. Maybe you've heard, but I haven't.
Bill Miracolo,
because he won over the course, but. What a disaster.
I don't know why Paco Lopez is not assigned to this horse, because the guy knows Parx. He's available. I really don't know why we don't just see the name Paco Lopez next to this horse. Now that Louis Saez, of course, is out for this race.
Yeah, that'd be a great pick. And but the only thing is when you look at that Smarty Jones, the buyer was 98, so that's okay. He has a 98 winning over this course. That's that's great, but that horse was a mess in that race in the stretch. I mean, he paid a visit to the grandstand before he crossed the finish line.
Yeah.
So I'm just with Saez aboard. If he had that much trouble, I don't know. It's not like it was his second career race or something, and you could just say, okay, he was really green. But still, he has that. If there's a lot of pace up front, he showed he can sit off of it. He's won over the course, so I'm a little interested there, but mainly Magic Tap in Scotland, I would say.
All right. So how will you play the races on Saturday? You mentioned pick 4s, pick 5s. They got the mandatory payout in their pick 5 as part of this, starting in race 10. Are you planning on the pick 5? Or are you going to try to wait for some of those prices to come in to play win bets? What do you think you'll end up doing?
Yeah, I mean, I'll do win bets as we go along, and I'll do some doubles as we go along. But I'm definitely in for the pick 5. And the way it usually works is that means I'm in for the pick 4 too, because I lose the first leg.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
Have to guarantee those things. All right. Well, you're a podcaster yourself. Do you enjoy the TV side or the podcasting side more?
Yeah, I got more experience with the TV side, but I like the podcast side because. Boy, you think my wardrobe is casual on election nights? Just look at me right now. So,
yeah, I'm not even wearing pants. So
yeah, I'm just happy you put a shirt on.
Yeah,
exactly. No, I appreciate you, man. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so you're gonna be out at Santa Anita. What is travel like when you work for an outfit like NBC? What is that day like? When do you get up? Where do you have to be? Do you actually get to see the races with your own eyes? Are you watching TV? How does that work for a guy like Steve Kornacki?
Yeah, it's the set that we have for what I do for NBC is it's really cool. Usually they have a setup right near the betting window, one of the betting windows. It's indoors,
yep.
But we've got a big touch screen near there. Eddie Olczyk's there giving you, and Matt Bernier will be there giving you their picks, their plays. And usually I'll end up just watching the race there. But it's there's a huge crowd in there. You get a lot of the energy. And for the big one. Usually I'll be able to, we have a producer who knows exactly where to go to stand And she's for the Triple Crown races. She's found us some really cool spots. So make the pick about 15 minutes before post time, and then go watch it from a really cool spot. So I'm hoping we'll have that for the Breeders' Cup too.
Well, good. Anything you want to pub on here? You probably don't need pub.
No, just if Scotland or Magic Tap lay an egg, or if Ceiling Crusher's a no-show, just forget that you heard it from me.
Well, listen, with
stay out of the DMs, people.
This 3-year-old colt class has been so inconsistent. I mean, how do you know? I mean, you just don't know who's going to show up when.
Yeah, that's a good point by you.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
well, he's the khaki man himself. He's Steve Kornacki. How much more of a drive do you have left tonight? And do you actually own a car and live in New York City?
I've learned a long time ago, it's cheaper to rent than to pay parking tickets. So it says on my thing, I got 2 hours from here, so it shouldn't be too bad.
All right. Well, we'll let him get to that. Yeah. Steve Kornacki, you can find him everywhere. He rolls up his sleeves. He does stuff like this. All right, Steve. Hey, man, appreciate it. We'll have you on again. Maybe around Breeders' Cup.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, Steve. Appreciate it. All right, Steve Kornacki. There you go.
There it is.
That's a man reading trainer comments.
Yeah.
That's a fan, dude. No, it's great. I love it. Yeah, it's good.
He can geek out with Kevin Kilroy. Love it. Kevin's a good guy. All right.
We'll have to like we did the As Musson thing at Breeders' Cup, or excuse me, at Pimlico. I think at Breeders' Cup we should do a Kornacki thing.
Like khakis and well, I always roll up my sleeves anyway.
Yeah, right.
And we're probably gonna wear khakis.
Right.
So, but you're gonna maybe wear a tie?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
For Kornacki, you don't have to. You never do.
No, yeah.
Did you wear one to your wedding?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
I wasn't at your wedding.
No, I was
I was like 16 when you got married.
I was 155 pounds when I got married.
Yikes.
Jeez, oh Pete.
I was not. I was at Zach's wedding.
Were you?
I was.
You were the best man?
I was the best man. I gave a scathing.
Everyone else said no.
Well, that's true. No, Zach has a smart rule. He's got 3 brothers.
Yeah.
And the rule of the brothers, you cannot be the best man for any of your brothers.
Okay.
So no one gets offended. I think it's a good rule.
I like it.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
You know, we did kind of the same thing with confirmation sponsors. So we kind of went outside the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, thanks to Steve. That's I don't think I've ever said on this show I'm waiting for trainer comments.
Okay. That's probably true.
There you go.
All right, let's do a little handicapping here.
There you go.
You want to talk takeout rates? Because you got them on the show sheet.
Now that I know, okay, so essentially at Parx, here's what you play, and Steve already told you. Play the pick 5 because it's mandatory payout. Play win, play show because it's 17% takeout, and then the doubles and exactas are 20%. Everything else is 25% or more on takeout.
That's
it's
so high.
Way too high. That is when, unfortunately, someone in the casino world runs your track instead of someone who actually understands what bettors want. And so stick to that pick 5. He talked about playing the pick 4. I think it's like 26.5% takeout.
Jeez.
It's hard on the old pocketbook. So I would stick to the doubles, stick to the exactas, would play show, and then play that pick 5. That's essentially what I would do.
The first race we're going to cap is race 7 at Parx. It is the Grade 3 Greenwood Cup, 1.5 miles on the dirt, 3-year-olds and up. Louie, where'd you land?
I want to make sure I have my notes correct. Because
you want to fill in like that?
I don't.
You know?
So all right. So in this one, I landed on what race are we on? Race 7?
Race 7.
Yeah, race 7.
The
Sorry,
Greenwood.
yeah. I landed on the favorite by Land and Sea. I think he's not only
Are we looking at
oh wait, sorry. I landed on the favorite next. He's the 6. I apologize for that. He's 8-5 on here. Luan Machado is flying in for this one. Horses 2 for 3 lifetime, a 3rd place finish at the distance, 2 for 3 this year. Longer distance races, won the Brooklyn on Belmont Day, and then came back and won the Birdstone at Saratoga. So the horse is in great form, is running really well. None of those races were really contested. He won the Birdstone by 11 lengths. he won the Brooklyn by 2 1/4, and literally it just says in hand, kept to task are his 2 notes in the lines. Love that about a horse. Means he's very professional. He's ready to go. So I think next is a potential single in whatever you're doing in there. If you're playing a double, maybe lean on him. Or this is a kind of bet where, if he stays above even money, you could really press a win bet because I think he's that much of a favorite here. Mike's favorite horse, riding with Biden, is the 3. And man, Zach missed that whole segment last week.
Oh yeah,
where I walked off set laughing.
Yeah.
He missed the whole thing. But Riding Biden is in here. Paco Lopez knows the course really well, winning at 31% at Parx in the current meet, which is insanity. coming back out of a win at Parx over a mile and a quarter. We're going 3 turns this time instead of 2 at Parx, and so a little bit longer. Right behind him was Calibrate, which is also in this race, the 4 horse. I would lean on those 3. If you think you can beat Next, it's going to be with one of those 2 horses, and that will be your chance if you want to hit a better double or a better win bet for you to get that kind of payout, and that's where I would lean. But I think Next here, he's not unbeatable, but even on wet go, Next is 2 for 2 lifetime. He's got 100 buyer on sloppy go, so I think he's very, very likely to win, and probably the most likely winner on this card.
I mean, Next is an unbelievable horse. I kind of like the Tyler's entry here, the 8 horse, a little bit Bear Oak. So as a little bit of a long shot play to hit the board. Mile and a half.
I had Fowler Blue in the 4th spot here if we wanted to go down there. Doug O'Neill flying this horse in, has won twice over wet go, has never tried the distance, but it's an absolute plotter. Ran behind Proxy in that Monmouth Cup recently. Why not, folks? Before that, though, won in the mud over a 1 3/8 at Ellis Park. So if he's going to win over a wet track, that's going to be the 4th horse.
Is there like a hurricane or something like that going to Pennsylvania?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Quite literally, there's a hurricane about to hit Philadelphia.
Is
the poor people in Parx.
I literally have not even watched the news probably in 10 days. So there
you go. Thank you.
Are we in danger of them postponing the races?
Potentially.
Okay.
It's that much rain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Unfortunately.
A little lightning, who knows what happens. All right. We're going to move on to the next race, which is race 8. It is the Turf Monster.
Damn right.
5 furlongs on the turf. It'd be really weird if the Turf Monster wasn't on the turf. 3-year-olds it up, $250,000 purse.
Damn it, that's a good joke.
Who is going to win the Turf Monster?
We need to pause the show.
Okay.
Because our boy, Roger, his horse is here, the 2. Nobody listens.
Oh, my gosh.
And I got to tell you, this is not a Breeders' Cup winning in, but this is how he's Breeders' Cup nominated. This is how you get into the Breeders' Cup is with this kind of race.
Matt and Jason are our boys too.
100%.
The whole trio here.
Won the Parx Dash last out. Before that, wins at Indiana and Allowance. Wins the Brickyard before that, the handicap. Has won this year on dirt, on turf, and on synthetic. All of those in stakes. Okay. I don't care what the weather is for this horse because he's shown that he can do it on any surface. He is 3 for 6 lifetime on wet dirt with 3 second-place finishes.
Let's go, Roger.
This is it, man.
Let's do it.
No, this is it. Like, I'm not trying to even pump the horse up because he doesn't speak English, but this is it, dude. This is his chance. And Roger was lamenting the rain the other day, and I get it. If you're an owner, you want the best conditions. I understand. Bleep that, man. Your horse is ready. This is it, dude. This is the year. They got this 5-year-old Sonic Conveyance, Indiana bred, man. Let's go. This is it, dude. This is their chance. By the way, the horse that's likely to beat them is named Roses for Deborah, Irad Ortiz, Christophe Clement. It's a 4 horse here. Horse is really, really good. And it's a chick. When they run the fillies against the boys, they're really serious, and that is a very, very good horse. She's in here, ran a 102 buyer last time under Irad. She's won 4 straight, all of them this year at Pimlico, then Belmont, then Saratoga. Her game travels. So she is very much the horse to beat here. But if someone's going to beat them, give me Nobody Listens, man. Give me the 2 just because of the conditions. I actually think she's never run on a rainy day. Roses for Deborah.
So we don't know what's going to happen.
No idea.
Yeah.
I don't even know if she runs. Let's put it that way, right?
Yeah, right.
Maybe they don't even run her. Keep it on the turf. Parx people. This is the greatest stakes. You leave this one on the turf
with a hurricane.
I don't care.
Okay.
You move your state breds to the dirt, but you keep our boy Roger on the turf. You understand?
Roger would run on the dirt, though.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
I don't care about Roger that way. Roger, don't roll around on the track, Roger. You watch yourself.
If he wins, he's rolling around the track.
All right, roll around on the track if you win, Roger.
I'm going to be like a little upset.
So I went a 2-4. Barron's in this race, by the way. A horse that people probably remember from the Run Happy at Belmont and from other stakes races. Has been running and listed in kind of company as well. 8-1 here out of the Reed barn. Interested to see him here. He's got great wet numbers. So if they do take it off and they're on the dirt, look for Barron, the 1 to not be 8-1, but rather something like 4-1.
All right. We're going to skip a couple races. Now, we said that pick 5 starts with race 10.
Race 10.
You got to get the gold book, right?
Goldbookbets.com, 100%.
Yeah.
Goldbookbets.com, goldbookbets.com, $5 on Saturday. We will have something like 5 college football games, Churchill Downs and Parx.
If I get my picks in, you will have 5 college football games. So
I'll have that no matter what.
Tonight, yes, tonight.
Because other people are reliable.
Yes.
And then
it's going to happen tonight.
Just kidding. You're actually very reliable. And so the The pick 5 starts here with the Parx Dirt Mile. And if you want to get in there, Gun Knight's in that race. Interesting race, especially because it's going to rain. Actually, very interesting race. Trying to figure it out. Gun Knight, how much of a 2-turn horse is he? I think they're trying to find out ahead of the Breeders' Cup.
Absolutely,
because that mile is
all
at
about placing them right. They got to figure out where
no
they're placing
question,
them. Yeah.
no question. So the fact that they're running them in the Dirt Mile here at Parx makes me think they're thinking Dirt Mile in the Breeders' Cup. Interesting to see him this weekend.
All right, so you mentioned football, Gold Book, all that stuff. You were out at Churchill Downs. Did you do a little sports bet, a little horse bet at the Churchill Downs?
I did not do any sports betting on Saturday, and in fact, boy, my kids bet. I don't know that I did.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm saving for Santa Anita, man.
I hear you. All right,
getting a little Breeders' Cup.
Next week, though, on the
starting to feel
show, my phone will be unlocked, and I will be able to make my first sports bet.
Yeah.
Using DraftKings.
Yeah.
Right here.
Code WHB if you need a code. WHB.
DraftKings
Yeah, there you go.
WHB. $200 in free bets.
Don't even have to put $1 in. The Kentucky legislation doesn't say that you have to make a deposit to get the bonus.
Yeah, I love it.
There you go. You can't require it.
So we're moving on to race 11. Well, but like right now with the Niners, I'd be betting all the time, right? Yeah,
you would be.
Race 11.
The horses. This show is going to get very distracted starting next week.
I actually no, the Niners on right now.
I know.
I actually do not bet on teams I'm passionate about. I really try to stay away from.
It's a fantastic rule.
Yeah.
I did bet the Lions under season total for my radio show, but
how do you feel about that, by the way?
Great.
What was it, like 11.5? Is that what it was?
9.5.
9.5.
They just got beat by the freaking Seahawks at home.
I don't want the Seahawks to be good.
They're garbage. Don't worry, they're not,
right.
because the Lions aren't either. Keep going.
We're gonna go the Gallant Bob Stakes. This is a 6 furlong race on the dirt. And like I said, maybe everything's gonna be on the dirt. We'll see. This is for 3-year-olds, $400,000 race. Louie, I love this 3-year-old class so much. Who's the best 3-year-old sprinter in this thing?
There isn't one, but our guy, finest man bun and chest hair combination in the history of horse racing, Saffy Joseph Jr.
Right,
has I read aboard a horse named Nautical Star, who won in the slop last out at Gulfstream Park, going 1 turn 7 furlonger. Drops the Lasix here, but did run in the Florida Derby before that without Lasix up the track. He's not a 2-turn horse. Took their time, brought him back in that optional claimer for this race. This is clearly where they were pointing him the whole time. The two of them get together at 26%. And so I'm leaning on Nautical Star 5-2. If we get that number coming out of a sloppy win, that's going to be absolutely fantastic. Rivet, I have second, the 9 horse. That's Tyler and Steve. As Muzzin. Go ahead and drink. 21% over their last 230 plus races. This horse is also 2 for 4 in the wet go. Most recently winning at Ellis Park at 7 furlongs in the Maxfield. So if we get any kind of replay on that, as you're going to hear this over and over, I am really relying on weather-based handicapping for Saturday, because I do think it's going to be that much of a.
At what point is it so much weather though that it doesn't even matter how well a horse is on the slop?
Yeah, no, I think we could get there this Saturday.
Yeah,
I think it's a possibility. Unfortunately, Damon's Mound did win in the slop last time at Charlestown, going 7 furlongs in the Hilton Memorial. So if that is repeatable for that horse, who has not shown great form as a 3-year-old, was terrific his first couple of starts as a 2-year-old.
Fantastic.
Boy, we couldn't get enough of him, but it ended up being not him out of the Saratoga Special, but rather it was a horse named Forte, who came out of there as the more accomplished 3-year-old this year. But for Michelle Lovell here, the reason I have her third is because her horses only go back-to-back wins at 7%. It is not a good angle for her. So if her horses win, they don't come back very well for some reason. And so I'm going to go, I'm put him in third spot there. I have Guardian Knot in the 10 in the 4th spot. Interested here, Michael Sanchez aboard for Guadalupe Preciado, and mostly because the horse is 4 for 5 lifetime at Parx. Once in a while, horses just like the course. They know it. You get Sanchez, who's a 20% rider at Parx, 23% together between Preciado and Sanchez. So interested to see the two of them together here. Is that a horse that can make up part of your exacta, your trifecta, something like that? Probably. Reminder, don't play the trifecta, just play the exacta and punch it. punch. So yeah, that one would go 5, 9, 4, and 10.
All right, we're going to move on to the Cotillon Stakes, but you all know how much I like to do this and talk about, like, when you talk about, again, you think of the Cotillon Stakes.
Yep.
This is one of the great filly races of the year. We went through it earlier and we talked about, the Acorn and the test, or the Alabama and all that stuff.
Yep.
Listen to this list.
Okay. Society last year,
but going all the way back to 2010 with Heart of the Grace.
Yep.
We had Untappable.
Okay.
I'm a Chatterbox,
Yep.
Songbird, Midnight Bizou, Clairiere, I mean, that is a list of horses.
Didn't
that
Plum
have-
Pretty win this race?
Plum Pretty, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, that's loaded.
I mean, this is
It's a grade one for a reason.
Yeah, 100%.
Because the winners are grade one.
Abel Tasman came in second, so did Monomoy Girl.
Jeez.
This is Wonder Godot came in third. I mean, we're
That's
all
a who's
came
who,
in
man.
third. Secret Oath came in third last year. Army Wife. I mean, this is like just a top. I'd love to know what year that the casino gambling came in and they impacted the purses, because it kind of seems like it was right around that 2000.
That should be on the Wikipedia page, actually.
Yeah, I was looking that up. So I'll let you talk about who
Great.
you like in this running of the Cotillon. But again, I don't think there's been a race day between the Cotillon and the Pennsylvania Derby that's benefited more from just placement on the calendar and casino gambling than this race in the Pennsylvania Derby.
Sure. I do think Pretty Mischievous is the class here. Let's be very clear about it. Every time they've asked her to do something outside of the test is, she's been great this year. I don't know about her wet track ability, because the last time she ran in the slop was in October of last year. So I have no idea if that's going to translate to Parx or not, but she's the class of this race. Don't make any ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I'm with Steve. I think 2-1 on the 3 horse here, Pretty Mischievous, is that's short for the track conditions, man. And for the decent, it's not a great field, but it's a good enough field that no one should be 2-1 in my opinion. I'll put it that way. Okay. I agree with him, by the way, about Ceiling Crusher. I don't know that I trust horses like he mentioned that are running in Southern California in perfect conditions to just show up in Philadelphia and run in the rain. I don't trust them to do that. So I've left her out of my handicapping for that reason. Had it been a clear day, I think I'd be feeling very different about her chances in this race here, the Cotillon. The other places, I think Hoosier Philly's got a real shot here, man. If she just gets out front, stays out front, I think she can do it.
Is that just because we've been fans of her from the game?
No, I think she's got a legit shot here. I think she showed it in that Monomoy Girl going that turn and a half mile at Ellis Park. She was never losing that race. And if it was another 1/8 of a mile, she would have been fine. This is a mile and a 16th. I think she'd be totally fine. She's 1 for 2 over wet go. Didn't like the go at Charlestown last time. Edgar Morales did the right thing and just kind of pulled her up and she jogged in. So I think she's got a legit shot here. I think a colt is absolutely interesting. He mentioned the 5 horse. This is Chad Brown. This is Irad Ortiz. It's never an accident with Chad Brown ships like this. It just isn't. You get Irad to pick up the mount here. That horse won by 10 1/4 lengths in the Monmouth Oaks last out.
It's hard to do.
She's capable. Okay. 2 for 2 over wet go as well. So I think she's more than capable of being the horse that picks off the group here. Defining purposes in here as well for Brian Hernandez. And that guy, Kenny McPeak, who had BB's Dream in the Pocahontas, interested to see her here. She has won over wet go before with an 85 buyer, but that was at Indiana. And I didn't think that track was that wet by the time they got to the Oaks on Indiana Derby Day. So good. I question that wet number. I don't think it was that wet. She ran in the Alabama. I think an okay third behind wet paint. Over fast track, going 1.25 miles. I don't think she wants any part of 1.25 miles. I think 1.16 miles is more her pace. So I landed on those 4. Some version of 3, 4, 5, and 7.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the Pennsylvania Derby, 1 1/8 on the dirt. 3-year-olds, another $1 million on the line. Gunrunner came in second this race. Who beat Gunrunner that year?
So that is 2017.
2016.
16, excuse me. Okay. So 16 was, oh boy. So the year after Farrell was Nyquist, wins the Derby. Then Exaggerator wins the Preakness. Then the California horses won 1-2. Who won the Belmont that year? Was that one of the Tappets. I think that started the Tappert, I think, won in 2016. Did Tappert win this race?
Connect.
He's a good sire too. There's a bunch of good sires out of that field, man. Who was third in that race?
Connect, Gunrunner, then Wild About Deb.
So, I don't know wild about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
That might be what Steve was talking about too. Sometimes you get that local horse who just likes the course and jumps up as part of that track.
But last year, the Taba, Zandon, and Cyberknife, then Hot Rod Charlie, Midnight Bourbon, and American Revolution the year before that. War of Will came in third in this race. Mackenzie won this race. Wow. West Coast won this race. Frosted, Bairn. I mean, this is another.
We'll take charge of this race.
Yeah, this is a great race. So, I mean, I don't think anyone who listens to the show knows that we don't love this 3-year-old class.
That's okay.
It's fine.
Do you know what that means? We might actually get a good 4-year-old class.
We will get a good 4-year-old.
I think we are going to get a good 4-year-old class because I think Saudi Crown wins this race.
Okay.
And I think there's a chance it's a coming out party.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a chance he just opens up. I think this might be the race where he figures it out. It's only his 5th race, man. I think sometimes it just takes time. I watch Brad Cox horses develop all the time. He and Florent Giroux, especially when Florent can have front runners. This is where he really excels, and he's going to have Saudi Crown on the lead. I think he's got a real shot here. Those Beyer speed figures are not accidents. He's running against Forte. He's running against Fort Bragg. He's running against good horses in good spots. He ran in that 1-turn Dwyer, comes back, runs in the Jim Dandy in that grade 2 field. They hold him out of the Travers for this spot. It's very clear they were shooting for this, knowing that Travers group was not going to be here. I think that's kind of tipping the hand that they think he's got a serious shot here. Man, I got West Coast Cowboy as my second horse here. He's a local guy with the connections, but it's another Safi. And there's something about Safi Joseph horses in these spots where they seem to be great. He runs in the West Virginia Derby last time behind Red Route 1 and finishes second in that race. Wet track, not muddy. Enough moisture that I think he got used to it. He has won twice over wet go, including an 88 Beyer last time out. Before that, though, did win in good conditions at both Gulfstream, and then in the slop broke his maiden. So I think sometimes we overstress the wet number when a horse breaks its maiden in the slop and then comes back to a dry course. We saw that with Wet Paint, for example, right? Yep. Ran wet, and then came back in a dry situation, was totally fine. I think West Coast Cowboy could be that horse here. Reincarnate, I think, has all of the tools to be great. And if Bob Baffert beats me in a 3-year-old classic distance race, I'm an idiot. And so at 9 furlongs, I will trust the way. Yeah, his name is Medina Spirit. Do you know the only person on the NBC set who had Medina Spirit?
Yeah, Kornacki.
Yeah, his name is Steve Kornacki. Yeah. And then Dreamlike, the 2 here. I'm all over the place in this race. I like that. Dreamlike's 10-1. Pletcher. This is me again, just Pletcher trusting that
10-1 and a horse that's won on the wet track right there.
There it is.
Yeah, you gotta love it.
There's no analysis. It's just what you said. Well, that's analysis.
The jockey's not bad either.
Yeah, his name is Irad Ortiz. He might be okay. So it's a horse that comes from off the pace, and we were talking about if it gets frenetic out front. Sometimes in the slop it gets frenetic out front. If it does that, then you might get a West Coast Cowboy. You might get a Dreamlike who just picks up the pieces afterward, and you get double-digit odds because that horse, just based on numbers. If you put those two next to each other, you would never bet Dreamlike next to Saudi Crown. You would never do it. He's been in the class before, Saudi Crown has. Dreamlike has not. He ran in the wood, had a chance, had a legit chance. I should give him credit for that. Runs in the wood, but at Aqueduct. But he's part of that. I don't know if people remember, but that was when Lord Miles and Hit Show had that like 3-horse thing. He was part of that trio. Interested to see if he comes back and runs well, can recapture some of that Wood Memorial magic. Little Wood Memorial magic on a Thursday, Mike.
I don't think there's such a thing as Wood Memorial.
That's
magic.
True, there isn't.
Okay.
Fusaichi Pegasus.
We're gonna pay the tab. We're gonna get out of here.
Whoa!
What?
Whoa!
What?
We're gonna pay the tab. You want to go home?
Yeah, actually, sort of.
Yeah, we got a meeting after this.
Yeah. So we're gonna end it here, and I hope you guys have a great weekend of great wagering.
Zach's ready to be done with the show.
He is ready to go.
Okay, great. All right.
Yeah, and make sure you check out the Gold Book.
Yeah, goldbookbets.com. $5, man. I honestly, for a day like Pennsylvania Derby, I'm sure you could go to another site.
Just for picks alone, you should go get the Gold Book.
I agree.
Yeah,
I had 4 straight at Belmont today. What's up?
Listen, I'm not saying that you do a bad job, but I mean,
I'm figuring out Aqueduct. I'm not gonna lie, it took me a couple days.
Yeah,
it took me a couple days, but 4 straight winners today.
We're making people money on that Gold Book. For
oh
sure.
my,
especially
crazy. On the football side, you guys are crushing. No, Mark's doing a great job too, for sure.
Yeah. All right, so check it out. Goldbookbets.com
helps us pay for all this stuff and travels to Santa Anita, that kind of thing.
That's right. We'll be out there and we'll see you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Music and stuff.
Use that.
And Racing Happy Hour. Thanks to Steve Kornacki. We'll see you next week.
There was no glass clink. That's what I was waiting on. The glass clink.